Hey, Sonic! Enjoy your future! It's gonna be great!
Wait, no. Hang on. I have to tell you about your future.
Oh, Sonic. Poor Sonic. If there was one game in dire need of an episode of this series, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. Once the cool, edgy adolescent rival of Mario, now the victim of bad games and creepy fanfiction. Once the anthropomorphic embodiment of 90s ratitude, now the poster boy for hedgehog bestiality awareness.
No.
Once the home console translation of speedy, flashy arcade gameplay, now the prime example of outdated design and criminally lenient quality control. Sonic, what happened to you? You had it all.
You had it all and you blew it!
Now before I get into it, I just have to give it up for one of the weirdest fan bases of anything.
Wow, will I really get that crazy?
Because you people are like the Patty Hearst of gamers. You have endured more abuse and crushing disappointment than a homeless foster child with AIDS. Yet you remain loyal to your favorite series, and I kind of admire that. Because if Mario or Zelda ran down a similar path to Sonic, I wouldn't have stuck around very long. I mean, after Homecoming, I quit Silent Hill faster than I quit cigarettes, and I understand why you stick around. Sonic is pretty cool.
Bump it.
Sonic is so 90s that he can witness his homies being sucked up by an evil purple vortex, and all he has to say is,
Hey! Not cool!
I get that the character design has an irresistible charm. The wild hair and angry brows. I understand how you grew up with Sega the way others like me grew up with Nintendo. And I get that no matter how bad a game can be, there can still be something about it that appeals to any single individual and implants some sort of seed of nostalgia. Anything that is objectively bad can still be subjectively good.
Anything.
But let's be realistic. Drop your guard and admit the fact that Sonic the Hedgehog has some serious issues. But like you, I've come to love the furry little bastard, and that's why I want to see these issues addressed and resolved. Naturally, we'll kick it off with classic 2D Sonic. The thing is, I don't really have much to complain about. For what these games are, they work. The originals were good enough to rival Nintendo for a while, Colors and Generations were both dope, and Mania reignited hope for the whole franchise. For a little while. Overall, the second dimension is where the series shines, and longtime fans gravitate toward this end of the spectrum not just due to nostalgia, but for blatantly superior quality. But that isn't to say there isn't room for improvements, a roster that reflects the inflated cast, which could allow other gameplay styles to be incorporated into the mix, like shoot-em-ups, beat-em-ups, and treasure hunts, a homing attack like in the 3D games, and some overworlds to string all these levels together would be a nice way to finally catch up to 1988. They did do some of those, but only for generations, and only half of that game was 2D. But there is something I would call a problem, and it lies at the core of the game, its defining trait. Sonic gameplay has always been about speed, quick thinking, and tight reflexes. These elements have roots in Sega's arcade heritage and stem from Sonic creator Yuji Naka's experience of blitzing through levels in the original Super Mario Bros. To get to the warp zone. Now I can appreciate it for what it is. There's nothing quite like zipping through a level once you know it front to back. But the series' signature mechanic has always been a double-edged sword. There's never time to explore, appreciate level design, find secrets and alternate paths. These are available in some levels, but only the Chaos Emeralds are really necessary. Like, I wanna go explore over here, but oh, I got sucked into a f***ing thing. Or like, oh, there's a fork in the road, let me see what's this way first, oh, now I can't f***ing go back. Or like, look at this shit. I'm not even pressing anything. These are problems that naturally arise due to the speed-based design, and I think the way to mend it is through the level design. Design some levels based fully around the speed factor. No detours, no forks, and no secrets. Just one-way A to B levels that reward constant speed, with obstacles and enemies and other hurdles impeding the player on this single path. Many fans feel indifferent about the enemy and trap placements that punish them for going fast, but if it wasn't for that, the whole thing would be too easy. We'd just be pushing the control stick to the side and watching him go. You have to really invest the hours and familiarize with the levels before a Sonic game becomes a speedrunner's dream. Then there's the question of platforming. How much, how often, and how precise. While most levels would ostensibly focus on speed, others would focus on tight platforming, and they would expand on what the series has already done. forcing the player to slow down. It can be impulsive to just blitz through levels in a Sonic game, so certain things like hazards, conveyor belts, and buoyancy force the player to slow down. And this is a logical antithesis to gameplay based on speed, and it provides an intense challenge, and it kinda makes canonical sense because what pisses off Sonic more than not being able to go fast? And these levels can also feature secrets and alternate routes more comfortably. Mania proved that 2D Sonic remains fun and relevant, and the classics from Sega's glory days stand the test of time. But now it's time to exit the warm waters of 2D and face the cold reality of what many fans refuse to even acknowledge exists: 3D Sonic. Sometimes it's hard to believe just how bad 3D Sonic is when I have such fond memories of Sonic Adventure 2. I played the Christ out of that game. The soundtrack literally changed my life. But I have to keep it real. The fact is that there has never been a perfect 3D Sonic game. I mean, no game is truly perfect, but even the good ones aren't exactly seminal. They're either decent, bad, or just plain unprofessional. Now, I don't want to spend the rest of this show pointing out all the things that are bad about each individual title, because I don't think YouTube will let me upload anything longer than Andy Warhol's Empire. And I'm honestly not equipped to. I loved the adventures, Heroes was okay, but I lost contact with Sonic after 06, which was basically the series 9/11. And I didn't rekindle the relationship until this one, by when only a few titles seemed worth picking up to me. So I'll just go over the things that I think are wrong with 3D Sonic as a whole, and the main thing is the same thing that lies at the heart of the series: speed. I already explained the inherent issues with speed in 2D, but it gets even worse in 3D, mainly because of controls. Input response is way too sensitive, and trying to tilt the avatar in even the slightest tiny bit will register a much sharper turn than intended. When entering a loop, you push the control stick up, but when exiting the loop, you have to adjust the turn along with the camera and then back up. And the main enemy you'll be fighting isn't Eggman, it's the camera. All these problems make you fall off ledges, run into enemies, and crash into structures, awkwardly bringing you to a full stop, which can be enraging in a game all about going fast. This is single-handedly the unifying problem of 3D Sonic games. The controls are just so finicky and imperfect. Even though Generations showed mild improvements, these problems still occur too frequently, and in ways that seem unfair, like not the player's fault. And I just can't believe that after all these years they still haven't found their bearings on this. Because if games like F-Zero and 200cc Mario Kart can flawlessly simulate high speeds in 3D, how the hell can the blue blur not? I actually had an idea for this. What if he controls like a car in a driving game? When using the control stick by itself, he's got average video game character speed. Tilt for a tiptoe, tilt more for a walk, and tilt all the way for a light run. But with the right and left triggers, you can accelerate and decelerate. You'd need analog triggers for that to work. Also, the mainline games cannot just be about speed. What made the adventure stand out was their diversity. It wasn't just about blitzing through levels as Sonic. You also had shoot-'em-up action stages and treasure hunting with other characters, boss battles and kart races, a bunch of hidden abilities, missions within missions, and of course the Chow Garden. They did mix things up here and there with guns and werewolves and whatnot, but that didn't pan out so well. It's kinda hard to say what the ideal 3D Sonic game would be because none of them can act as a standard of comparison. Like I said, none are perfect, most are mediocre, and each one is so different. In fact, many niches have surfaced among the fan base that confess an unpopular affinity for certain entries. Even that one. So why not harness all the elements that were met with positive reception into the long-awaited Sonic Adventure 3? The open hub area, the huge roster, the gameplay diversity, and a melodramatic story about mad science, magic jewels, and altruistic furries. But just dial it back on the soapy shit.
Maria.
Like the gameplay, Sonic stories have ranged from gnarly to cringy to everywhere in between. They really gotta find the right tone with Sonic games. I mean, maybe they can pull off a few serious moments in the narrative if they just lower the corniness of the dialogue and the voice acting.
Shut up, science bitch.
Adventures and Generations struck a good balance with the side content, but it always felt detached from the main game, rather than a part of it. And that brings me to what I really want in a 3D Sonic game. I know I almost always say I want some open world adventure game for whatever series I cover on this show, but I think Sonic can seriously benefit from it. Save the world by collecting the 7 proverbial quest items. which is perfect since there's already 7 Chaos Emeralds, and reclaim the Master Emerald in the final showdown. And since the main issue is controlling the characters at high speeds through these narrow linear stages, a wide open space would be way easier to maneuver in. But I must stress this one last time. All the best mechanics and level designs and narratives cannot be properly experienced when the physics and controls and bare bones of the game are clunky, glitchy, and ill-responsive. Honestly, I think part of the problem are these dudes. From what I've gathered, Sega is not the greatest game maker in the industry. I mean, they're good, sometimes great, occasionally remarkable, but they've earned themselves a pretty glitchy reputation. I'm just saying, Nintendo would probably make a better Sonic game than these guys.
Why do you disappoint me? Second by second, you waste my time.
At least one thing about Sonic will always be awesome. That freaking music. Crush 40 crushes it. So, I don't know. This was a hard one, and it didn't get easier in the 3 years since I first made this video. Everyone knows what's wrong with Sonic, but nobody really knows how to fix it. Not me, not you, not even Sega. But that's all the advice I can offer. Keep on doing justice to those classic speed scrollers, but get your third-dimensional shit together. Because honestly, if the next one isn't good, then that's it. Maybe it's time to just wipe their hands and call it a day. If the next 3D Sonic the Hedgehog game is just another disaster, then I'm calling it.
Game over.